Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, you find a way to lose. Canelo Alvarez, no more cherry picking. Canelo Alvarez now has backed himself into a corner. Canelo Alvarez has to fight legitimate threats from here on out. We understand what he did, chasing greatness, chasing legacy, chasing all that greatness, ended up getting him a great butt whooping last night. Don't get me wrong, I still think he's solid, but look, where else can he turn? Where else can he go? You know, there's no more Jose Miguel Cottos. You know, the Lovemore Endos and Matthew Hattons are out of there now. When he was coming up, and you know, you got to understand, this man started fighting at age 15. That's amazing as a professional. So his body isn't what it used to be. Maybe he's getting old. I'll do a video on that. But he can't go out there and find another Josecito Lopez. You can't go from fighting Dimitri Bivol to now, you know, looking to go fight Triple G, and then all of a sudden come out now and decide he's going to come down and try to fight a Saddam Ali or something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the cherry picking is over. So he backed himself in the corner, and now we're going to really see what Canelo Alvarez is made of. The loss he took last night, you only get a pass for that loss. Only clowns thought he belonged there, okay? But most people in the boxing world, and anyone with a bit of intelligence, would have told themselves, this is a fight that Canelo's gonna lose. I said that. I did a video on that. And people were raking me across the coals like I was crazy. That's like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, you know, you don't even have to be a boxer to understand that, you know, size matters, man. When you going out here as kids, man, my dad used to tell me this. Be careful wrestling, be careful play fighting. I was like 9, 10 years old. He was like, because what's going to happen is guys are going to realize your weaknesses, they're going to realize your strengths. And then if there's a bit of intimidation there, where they feel intimidated by you, and they realize that they can take you, then it's gone. So you don't get into those situations where someone can learn your weaknesses and strengths. Now, he also told me about being careful to get in a wrestling with someone bigger than me just because of the weight difference. So I was a young kid. Now, my pops was West Indian, so there's certain things that he would tell us and show us as kids that probably a lot of other people's parents probably didn't talk to him about, because, you know, my pops was just the greatest, right? You know, he's a trip. But he was spot on. So as I got older, I'm like 9 years old hearing this stuff. Then as, you know, a teenager, you find yourself out there, you know, getting into little, you know, ups and downs. You know, teenagers, adolescent crap going on. And then you start to see exactly what he was talking about. And then when I started boxing, and I really saw what the hell he was talking about. And it all comes together. So I say that to say this. The whole size things, size matters, and especially in boxing, because no matter how strong Canelo is, how much of a bad boy he is at the lower weight classes, he was out of his league. And it's just hard to get in there with someone who's much bigger than you, who has the same athleticism, more power, and a find a way to win mentality. So 9 times out of 10, or probably 10 times out of 10, unless the person just gets careless and drops their hands and just really acts stupid in the ring and irresponsible, they're probably going to win. So now, you know, you got to look at what's next for Canelo. You know, he can't come now and fight, what's that guy's name, man? He can't come and fight Jarred Hurd. What's Canelo going to do? Go and fight Jarred Hurd? Luis Arias, you know, he can't go and fight those guys. So Canelo's put himself in a position which he has to fight someone who's going to be a legitimate threat. And at 168, so when you look at it, 168, and let me see something, because I don't know what Canelo can do. Because Canelo's in a bad position, man. And it's good for us as fans, but it's bad for him because even if he goes in there and fights Triple G, I'm gonna be honest with you. If Canelo goes in there and fights Triple G, you gotta be real with yourself. That may be a problem if he tries that. If he tries that high guard style, because I just felt Canelo was gonna do something different with Bivol. I didn't think he would win, but I thought at least, he would do something a little bit different. That going into the fight with Triple G would just have everybody saying, "There's no way in the world Triple G will win that fight." I'm gonna be honest now. I thought Triple G won the first 2 fights, but I thought because he left Abel Sanchez, he hasn't looked the same, which he hasn't. But with what Canelo did last night, I have to give Triple G a chance to win that fight. I have to give Triple G a good chance to win that fight. You really have to do that. So now with Canelo, 168, if he's coming back down there, this is the problem. Benavidez, doesn't sound like he wants to fight him. That's who he needs to fight. He beat Plant, he beat Saunders. Then there's Darrell. Darrell has no name at all. He said he wants the Canelo fight. If he doesn't get the Canelo fight, he'll probably retire. So you got Benavidez, Darrell, then there's a guy named Ryder. Lemieux is about to fight Benavidez. So the winner of Lemieux and Benavidez would probably be the fight for Canelo, because Triple G already clipped Lemieux. But we know that Canelo's trying to figure out what he's going to do next. But then you got these other names who nobody cares about. So it's Benavidez, Darrell. I don't care about no Ryder. Benavidez, Darrell, and Lemieux. Those are the next. That's potentially the next fight for Canelo. Benavidez, Darrell, and Lemieux. That's really what we're looking at. And for some reason, some other guys who can bubble up. Okay, then you got a weight division below that, 160 pounds. Golovkin going to come up to 168 to meet Canelo to fight. Got Jamal Charlo, Andre Munguia, Eubank Jr. I can't even pronounce it. Alem Kanuli, I think he's from Kazakhstan. Murata Adamus Derevenchenko, Cash. Nobody. So let's just forget about those guys. So this is what we're talking about. Benavidez, you're talking about Lemieux, and you're talking about Darrell. Then you have Golovkin, which he already fought. Charlo, Andre, Munguia, Eubank Jr. Canelo has guys he can fight, but you have to be honest with yourself. Can Canelo beat Eubank Jr.? This Canelo that's trying to walk people down, can he beat this Eubank Jr. who's been with Roy Jones and looking spectacular? Can Canelo beat Eubank Jr.? I'll let you answer that. Can Canelo beat Munguia? I'm going to say no. I'll answer it for you. You're welcome. Canelo does not beat Munguia. I don't care. You can say, oh, Munguia stand in front of him. Munguia has a crazy work rate too. But I don't think Canelo beats Munguia. Canelo needs to leave the alien alone. Munguia is an alien. Leave him alone. Can Canelo beat Andre? I don't think so. Canelo's not that high guard, trying to walk you down, stuff not going to work. Not against Andre. Andre's super long arms. He's got speed, power. He's awkward. And it's just a horrible style matchup for him. Can he beat Charlo? Probably could. Charlo's a boxer. He can move. But he has a tendency to want to stand there and fight on the inside. That's where Canelo gets his opportunities. But you got to say that fight can go either way. So we already talked about Benavidez. I think that's a back and forth fight. But I would give Charlo a better chance than Benavidez, because stylistically, I think Charlo would try to box and move. But then again, he probably won't win. And no one's going to win a decision, boxing and moving, unless you can do to Canelo what Bivol did. And then also, you know what that fight reminded me of? With Chris Colbert, he just fought and lost. I think it was a Puerto Rican fighter. I can't remember the guy's name. My bad. I should have done my homework and pulled his name up. But that guy outworked him, overwhelmed him. Looked like he was on some performance enhancement drugs. The way that man punched every second of every round. It was freakish to watch him perform. But so that fight that Chris Colbert recently had where he lost, go look that fight up. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't call the fighter's Matter of fact, while I'm talking, let me stop doing that, okay? I'm gonna pull it up right now because you guys need to know the name of this guy because Hector Garcia is his name. Dropped and defeated Chris Colbert. They say a monster upset, which is what we call last night a monster upset. But that guy Hector Garcia, think he's a Puerto Rican fighter? Crazy how he outworked and overwhelmed Chris Colbert. Just like last night. Crazy how Bivol outworked and overwhelmed Canelo. See, that's what makes these guys special. So for Canelo now, he's got to figure it out. No more cherry picks. He can't go, no more Josecitos. Those days are over, man. No more of that. No more. Don't be scared. Canelo has to figure it out. Oh, man. So these guys should be licking their chops. Eubank Judy, everybody wants to fight Canelo now. They wanted to fight him for the payday. Now they want to fight him because they feel, you should forget the money. I can beat him. But this is the thing. These guys are not Bivol. Bivol is tall, lanky, strong as hell. Extremely impressive sound amateur record. So all these guys now, you know, like Weasel, pop goes the Weasel, because Canelo went pop. All these weasels popping their head up trying to see what's going on. Nah, man, y'all better get back down in your little burrows and leave Canelo the hell alone before you get clipped. But I do think, out of all of those guys, I think Eubank Jr. would have a chance, but I don't know if he would win. But I got to give him a chance. Munguia, I think, would beat Canelo. I really do, man. But he has a tendency to get hit. But Canelo doesn't have that kind of work rate. He more or less pop shots you, counters you, discourages you, walks you down, mentally breaks you down, and then lets his hands go with those amazing combinations, gets you out of there. But against, you got to shoot Munguia. Munguia is not normal. That man's blood is green, you know, like he's an alien. Charlo, good fight. But, you know, I don't think Canelo throws enough punches. And it's going to be a close fight. But Charlo would lose his right to complain because he's not the kind of fighter to throw so many punches to overwhelm his opponents and to just blow them out on scorecards. He's a strong boxing puncher, but he's not in there throwing 100 punches around. And that's what you need against a guy like Canelo. Andre, I think he easily outboxes Canelo, but he'll lose on the scorecards. But these are winnable fights. But the two guys out there, you gotta look at Benavidez, you gotta look at Munguia. And everyone else has a chance. But when we're talking about work rate, you gotta look at Munguia, man. I just think Munguia will get in there. Mexico against Mexico. You know, the Canelo versus the alien. I just think that would be a fantastic fight. But when you look at those names that I just mentioned, those aren't cherry picks. Those aren't cherry picks. Those are not cherry picks, man. No more Amir Khans. No more weird catchweights. These aren't cherry picks. Like, it's over. Canelo has to figure it out. And if he has any sense at all and care about his health, he will not go poking at no damn Usyk. Like, you couldn't even clip Bivol. Leave Usyk alone. And definitely, he should be glad. What's that guy's name? I'm going to pull it up right now for you. Okay. Cruiserweight. Damn, what's that guy's name? What's that cruiserweight's name that Canelo was talking about fighting? Makabu. It's a good thing he didn't fight Makabu, man. Makabu would have blasted him. You got to understand, Makabu 29 wins, 2 losses. Let me see how many knockouts Makabu had. Makabu didn't look great at all, but you got to get a man. Don't say. There it is. 29 wins. So this is the thing. This is the guy Canelo was going to fight. Elonga Makabu, the African fighter at cruiserweight. This man had 29 wins, 25 by knockout. Cruiserweight. That's who Canelo was talking about fighting. Now, you guys know where I'm going with this? You really think Canelo's going to beat him at cruiserweight? Nah, man. Canelo just, size-wise, dimensionally, near impossible for him to go up and fight those guys. He's too small. You know, you hear Mayweather talk about it from time to time when he was a professional, talked about his size. And for him to go up there and get hurt by fighting a 160 pounder, 168 pounder. And he was like, no, why would I do that? He said he would talk, Floyd Mayweather's 5'7", 5'8". Really should have been fighting at 135, 140. Blew up to 147. It's like Pacquiao was struggling to make 147. You know, he's eating all the food, all that good tocino and all that adobo and rice and roast fish and stuff like that to just try to make the damn weight. And then on fight night, sometimes he would be way less than 147. So I think Canelo, we know what the threshold is. We praise your motivation. We praise your ambition to be great. But at the same time, you have to come down. And for us to still hold you in that positive light, you can't come down now and look to pick up a Jarred Hurd or a BS fight. Those days are over. You still got to fight the elite. So now it's time to give those guys opportunities, Canelo. Canelo's talking about fighting another 6 or 7 years, but I don't think so. I give Canelo 2 more years. He's out the sport of boxing. Or another loss. He's going to start talking retirement. Because one thing about Canelo, that man loves his children, and he's not going to sit there and start taking damage. And he'll just exit into the sunset. Because he's not going to allow boxing to retire him. He's going to retire from boxing. And he's not going to sit there beyond his expiration date. He's not going to do that. Got to go ahead and remove him from the shelf, going out there and enjoy all that money he made and a beautiful family. And he should. But that being said, going forward, Canelo, don't go out there picking no cherries. Don't even get a tomato, man. It looks too much. They got cherry tomatoes. The worst thing he can do is get a cherry tomato. Canelo, you better go out there, man, and get busy with some of these guys who can actually push you. And all those guys' names I mentioned can do it. I think the biggest fight for him, in my opinion, especially if they had it in Mexico, which he wants to fight in Mexico, would be Munguia. And even David Benavidez, but he's American. Mexican-American, but whatever. You know, at the end of the day, you're born American, you're American. Culture-wise, you know, Trinidadian, you're Trinidadian. You're Jamaican, you're Jamaican. You're Panamanian, you're Panamanian culture. You know what I'm saying? Your belly is going to be from where your parents are from. Unless, you know, parents just totally throw away all the culture. But David Benavidez is definitely a Mexican-American. And I think that would fare well over there because whether you're Mexican-American or not, Mexicans are going to support you. But the real deal, no kidding, Mexican showdown would be Canelo and Munguia. I think that's the fight. If not that, then Benavidez. If not Benavidez, then Charlo. But all those names I mentioned gives him problems. Lemieux could be a bit of a problem, but Lemieux will stand there. Canelo actually knocks Lemieux out cold, in my opinion. But Lemieux can hit. He can crack with that left hand. But I think Canelo beats him. But yeah. It's a fight for him, but it is what it is. Leave your 2 cents below. Let me know what you think. The point of this video is to say, no matter what Canelo does next, if he chooses not to fight the rematch with Bivol, and listen, Bivol may not do the rematch unless he gets treated like a champion and makes the money that Canelo made. But if he signed a contract for 2 fights, you better believe Eddie Hearn already worded that second fight for the rematch for Canelo to get the lion's share of the money. That's just how Eddie Hearn works. And Bivol's going to be in a situation like Andy Ruiz against AJ, where now you're talking about, I don't want to fight him, I'm not getting enough money. Like, you signed a contract, man. Shut up and take the fight. You wouldn't even be in this position if he didn't give you an opportunity. Yeah, you won, we get it, congratulations. But shut up and take the second fight. And just be grateful that you're getting an opportunity, another huge payday, more money than you would have ever made had you not fought this man, and you fought 10 different opponents. So just knock it off. And that's why I think the same thing with Bivol. Don't start talking all this I'm the champion, I beat Canelo, I want more money. No, you shut up. Just follow what was explicitly agreed on in the contract. Move forward. You clip him a second time, then, you know, you're the man. But you probably won't get a third fight. You probably go back and fight somebody, and you got all this momentum going with you, but you won't even make a tenth of what you made fighting Canelo because the guy you're fighting not going to bring that kind of money and audience to the table. So shut up and be humble, be happy, be glad that you're able to change your life financially because Canelo gave you an opportunity. And that's my 2 cents on it, man. Anyway, let me know who you think Canelo should fight next. If it's not Bivol and if it's not Triple G, who does he fight? I say Munguia. But Benavidez or Charlo, but number one, now that I'm thinking about it, is Munguia. That being said, like and subscribe. Shout out to the veterans, and as always, I'm in the breeze.